I'm going to begin, Dexter, by asking, I mean, not only have we got sort of Eddie the Eagle coming out, but there's also this Florence Foster Jenkins film coming out, which is obviously about the opera singer who wasn't very good at singing. Yeah. And I'm just wondering, I mean, they're obviously a bit of a sort of tenuous link, but it's this idea that we kind of revel in people who try hard, but aren't quite the finished product. And I was wondering what it is you think about this type of character that lends itself so well to cinema, that really kind of taps into our kind of imaginations and our hearts.
Interesting. I certainly think a large part of it, or a part of it, is that there are people with natural abilities and talents that you can work hard at, and it takes you somewhere great. Same as there's people with natural abilities and talents that kind of can squander that. Even having been guilty of that same thing myself to a certain degree in my earlier years. But I think that, you know, it's the thing of, you know, you may not have the natural gifts and all the advantages, but why let that stop you? Why let being ordinary stop you? And the truth is, we're all pretty ordinary. Everyone's got something remarkable about them. Of course they have. I'm not saying that. But you know what I mean? There's something about us all, like, we all, you know, have some desire or wish of something that we aspired to do that maybe we just weren't cut out to do. And you might realise, you know, I might have realised at 17, I'm never going to be a gymnast. What's the point of me pursuing that? So I put it away. Whereas Eddie or Florence never put it away. And we admire that, because I think, you know, you go, yeah, that's great. That's really good. You're just still going for it. And then it doesn't matter about whether you win or whether you sing Carnegie Hall or the Met or, you know, the Scala. It's just about, I'm there and I'm pursuing this thing irrespective of what you think. I know you think I'm an idiot, and I recognise that, but I choose to go on. And that's really brave and admirable.
And there's a wonderful line in the film about the Jamaican Bobsled team, which obviously was at the same Winter Olympics as this. Was there any thoughts on maybe featuring them more prominently in the movie, or was it always the idea of having it just as a kind of...
No, there was in an earlier draft. It was a great moment. I loved it. It fell away, unfortunately, for various different reasons, but they were there, and they see Eddie feeling particularly dejected and down, and they're like, "Hey Eddie, how's it going?" He's like, "Yeah, no, I'm all right." And then there was this great line one of the guys said, "Some people just don't fit in, do they?" Which was a rather fun moment, because, you know, they obviously then had a sense of humour about where they were and what was going on, and but it didn't feature. And actually, in due deference to Mr. Vaughan, that shout out, that mention to them is something that he said, we should do this, and it is a brilliant moment.
And Eddie, there's quotes from Eddie himself claiming that this is 90% fiction, 10% based on his life. I was wondering, I mean, is that the case? And do you feel the term biopic can be a little restricting to filmmakers? Because I guess there's that kind of, people feel there's that obligation to kind of stick to reality, but do you actually see it more as though, you know, this is a piece of cinema and
no biopic sticks to reality. I mean, I know that's exactly as it was, and people... I don't think it can do, because you could create a piece of entertainment, you're creating a story. And when Eddie said about that, you know, 90% of it or only 10% of it is true, it was an old draft that he read from many years ago, and I think he had a very different view of what it was then to what it is now. He understands that we're trying to create, we're telling a fictionalised version of a true story, which means that by its very nature, it's going to be fictionalised. Of course, we know where we're heading, we know that the people are real, but what we're trying to do is communicate his story, what he did, what he undertook to get where he was. But we have to tell it in 100 minutes, and we have to tell it in an entertaining, engaging way, so that the people emotionally, when they watch the film, when the audience engage with where the film is at the end, is that they feel what Eddie was really feeling at that time, what Eddie and his family were feeling, so that they can celebrate it, the audience can celebrate it in the way that those near and dear to him and close to him did. And I think when Eddie watches the film now, he understands that where the film starts and what the journey it takes us on and where it gets to lets the audience feel part of that whole journey that he went on and that experience he had.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for your time today. Much appreciated.
My pleasure.
For a lot longer.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey